But I'll tell you this. I feel like this entire offseason, after the year that we saw with all of the self-inflicted suspensions, after the year of getting suspended in the series against the Kings, and after the year of the punch and all that, like this has been multiple years. Now everything that comes out of his mouth feels like the boy who cried wolf. I'm exhausted.
It's kind of crazy.
It falls on deaf ears.
Well, Jordan Poole gets hit, right, in practice. And Draymond's the one coming late to practice because he's embarrassed by what he did. And now he could come on time because Jordan Poole's now gone. Just think about that. Now it's all good because JP's gone. So it was obvious it was one or the other. And the Warriors chose Draymond Green. They chose their 4-time champ, defensive stalwart, and they said, you know what, we could trade Poole. Now when you look at the team, you think about the lack of firepower. Boy, what would it look like if Jordan Poole was still here and Draymond was out? And Kuminga's playing more. What does it look like? I have no idea. Draymond's still a very valuable basketball player, but the stuff that happens off the floor, hell, some of the stuff that happens on the floor, it cost you a playoff spot this season. 2 years ago, it divided the locker room. There's no denying that.
23-year-old.
Right. It cost you a 23-year-old asset who averages 20 points a game.
Who was ascending.
Right. And 20 points a game in this league. You hear from Kenny Smith. You hear from Chris Willett. You hear from everybody. You ain't no scrub if you could get 20 in the league. This is the best league in the world. So it cost you a playoff spot this year. Cost you a 23-year-old. You had to make moves. Now you're going to lose Chris Paul. So basically got nothing from the Jordan Poole move. It's not good. It's not good. So I by the time Draymond's done as being I guess my question is this then. My question is this when it comes to Draymond Green. Is there anything that he can do over the next 3 years that can endear himself back to Warrior fans to where we could walk away at the end of his career and say, man, so happy Draymond Green was. Like, because we're still going to be happy. 4 championships, DPOY, all defensive teams, all-star appearances. But with the way it's going right now, and the Q rating Draymond has with Dub fans, a lot of Dub fans are down on him. Is there any way he could flip his Q rating and become one of those become that lovable guy that we had, that we all loved? We loved him from even after getting suspended in the NBA Finals. We still loved him in 2017. We still loved him in 2018. We still loved him in 2019. And then things got a little sideways, right?
Do you think he's beloved today?
By Dub Nation? Boy, if I had to put a percentage on it.
That's what I'm saying.
It's funny, whenever I meet a Warriors fan, they either love Draymond or they hate him. There's no in between. There's no in between.
But what do you? I don't even know.
I don't even know. I can't put a percentage on it.
I don't know.
But is he beloved?
But here's
do you still love Draymond Green as a Warrior fan? 888-957-9570. Where's this team going? Is there anything he can do to flip that narrative? Is it a championship ring? Is it a deep playoff run? Because right now I meet so many people and they're down on Draymond the player. They're down on him. They really are. And then the podcast doesn't help. It doesn't help when the Minnesota Timberwolves doesn't go to the Senate inside the NBA because they don't want to talk to you because of all the Gobert rhetoric. Like, I still think he's loved, right? Number's going to be retired, 23. Dub Nation still rocks with Draymond Green. I should take that back. They do. But there are a large contingent of Warrior fans who are slowly but surely said, yeah, I'm out on him. Like you. Sounds like you're out on him.
Yeah. Been out on him.
There's a lot of people like you.
And but the number one. And
that's okay.
The number one, justification I hear about, 4-time champion, 4-time champion. It's like, yeah, he is a 4-time champion, no doubt. I don't think he's helping you win a championship moving forward. If we're just talking basketball. Okay, period. I think it makes it complicated in the half court because he tries to play point guard, and if you look at his assist to turnover ratio, it's pathetic for a guy who handles the ball as much as he does. It's nowhere near what the elite point guards in the game are, which is 3-to-1, 2-to-1. I mean, they're 2.5 or 3.5 to 1. That's what you're looking for in a point guard. He doesn't shoot, so he can't space the floor. It makes it more congested, so that fifth defender is allowed to double team, and especially when you have Steph Curry playing off ball, that allows other teams to be able to hedge off of him, and they can play, and all those screens on it means nothing because people can play the passing lanes. Defensively, I don't think he can stay in front of fives consistently for long stretches. So you're forced to play an athletic five around him. Well, it's very difficult to find a stretch shooting five who can also be a defender. There's just not any of them in the league right now. They're just not. So finding a fit defensively alongside Draymond becomes very difficult. Is he a good player? Yeah, he's all right. I don't think he's as good as we think he is. And I think that actually he creates more problems on both ends of the floor, defensively and offensively, than he actually helps. And I've been feeling that way for multiple seasons.
415, Vontae's right. It's literally like the Jimmy G and Brandon Belt story all over again. Draw a line and pick a side. There's no middle ground. There's no middle ground when it comes to Draymond Green. You either love him or hate him. It's how it's been. Same thing with Jimmy. You're right. 415, Xfinity Mobile Text side. Just like Jimmy, just like Brandon Belt. It's either or with this guy, and he doesn't help the situation. Let's go to Jay and Hayward. Jay, what's happening? You're on the roast here on 95.7 The Game.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Good to talk to you guys. Just wanted to bring up a point. I'm looking at Looney. I'm looking at Klay. I think Looney's getting scapegoated for a lot of the stuff that happened on the court this season. And just looking at some of their numbers, Looney was phenomenal with Klay by himself. He was a +8. With Steph by himself, he was a +12.2 or 12.8, something like that. But with the two of them, he's a -4.8. To me, it says Looney wasn't the problem. It says, Klay and Steph and Looney together really wasn't working. I think Klay and Steph are aging, and they need younger bodies to play defense. That's just how I'm feeling.
All right.
Good call.
So, yeah. Maybe Looney is underrated. I think somebody's going to find Looney, and
he's a backup. He's a solid backup.
Looney's going to be serviceable for somebody. There's still something there with Kevon Looney. I love Loon Dog. I would love to keep him. But I get the dynamic of the roster. I get the payroll. I get what you have to do with this team. You got to shake some things up. And Looney, by the end of the season, was a DNP. Did not play. Did not participate. So, you have to figure out what to do with Kevon Looney. Not a big time contract, but I'm eager. 888-957-9570. Where are Warrior fans at with Draymond Green? And I want to hear from people who love Draymond Green. I want to hear people who are kind of annoyed with Draymond Green. Can you still win big games with Draymond Green on the floor? Because I still think there's a lot of value on the court with Draymond Green. We could get into that in just a second. Let's go to Oscar in Stockton. Oscar, what's happening?
Hi, Oscar.
What's going on, Vontae? What's happening with you guys?
Oscar?
Hey, man, I wasn't going to call in, I just been listening. The way the Warriors fans is a lot of the fans that is bandwagon fans, because you got to take the wins and the losses and the attitudes. As players get older, they win championships. You really see they're real men. They have families now. The way the hate is coming at Klay Thompson and Vontae, you always backing him up. And, yeah, Dre talks a lot, but the love and the joy and the championship they bring to us, people fail to realize how low the Warriors was before we got Klay and Dre. They're at the end of the road. They're champions. They're always going to be champions. And when they do leave and the era is over with, we're going to really realize how much we're going to miss them guys. And not only that, I heard a couple of people calling in talking about, oh, you think it's time to get rid of Steph? Man, you don't get rid of your superstars like that. You retire with them. If you may have a couple losing seasons at the end, okay. That's on the front office to rebuild a squad. You retire with Dre, Klay, and Steph. That's the bottom line, and they still have value.
Good call, Oscar. And I do believe Draymond still has value. As much, and I hear what you're saying about the turnovers and the lack of shooting, and I've always urged him to shoot more, shoot the ball more, Draymond. I don't think you have a bad shot. I do believe that if he really focused on shooting the ball when he's wide open, he could shoot 35, 36% from three. I truly believe that. Now, some people may think I'm delusional, but I do believe that he can make that happen. Now, defensively, as a four, as a weak side defender, he's still got something there. But is it worth the squeeze? Is it worth everything that's coming out of his mouth on the podcast or on Inside the NBA or what has happened in this locker room over the last 2 seasons? What does Uncle Joe Lacob, Joey Lightyear think about when he hears about him being late? Maybe he already knows. Maybe Steve Kerr already knows. Maybe Steve Kerr's cringing. I have no idea what they're thinking right now, but I know Looney didn't say anything. Looney was good off of that. Looney was just like, I'm not going to touch it.
Well, and this thing about like the Warriors all need to stay together and retire here. You don't get to call all your shots on everything. You can't ask for, all the money in the world, and you have to compete, and you have to, there has to be some give and take. And I think you have to also be realistic and look at the sports landscape. 3 guys playing 11, 12 years together is already the outlier. What they've done has almost unprecedented in this modern CBA, given how difficult it is to just keep everything financially, stable through the entirety of those deals. It's very, very difficult. The fact that they've threaded the needle is an outlier.
Yeah.
And I think that to think that all 3 are going to retire with the Warriors now.
Well, Klay's it sounds like Klay's gone. So that ship has sailed. Sounds like Klay's walking, according to the report, Kyle Kami and Marcus Thompson. I mean, the writing's on the wall, it feels like.
Well, and so now I take it a step further. And again, I've been critical of Klay Thompson, but I'll be real with you. Listening to this pod, all the stuff from last year, everything the year before that, I do not think it's fair, and I know life's not fair. I don't think it's fair that Draymond Green is on the Warriors longer than Klay Thompson. That's kind of weak to me.
510 Xfinity Mobile text line. I can't take Day-Day at his word anymore. Maybe he was trying to be late. Not because he was embarrassed. It's because the team took Poole's side and didn't want nothing to do with him. I'm still in the ship him out of here side. That's our boy Oreo Cookie.
I don't know who the team sided with. I don't. I mean, does he mean the organization, not the players?
He's saying the team. Maybe, maybe the team. If we kept Green, how can we not keep Klay? That's also Oreo Cookie here. 888-957-9707. Don't hate Draymond, but after the punch, he lost me. Does everybody else feel like that? 888-957-9570. As the Warriors get ready to start the offseason, some rumblings are already starting to come out. What about Klay Thompson? Here's what Marcus Thompson said about Klay. Said it doesn't look good for him coming back.
His situation remains very unsettled behind the scenes. I wrote about it last week.
It's going to depend.
I don't think it looks good for him coming back. I think he's going to get a bunch of money thrown at him. And I know it's crazy.
Shorter term deal, balloon payment.
I know. Oh, no, man. Teams are out here desperate. We watched 4 teams in the playoffs could not score. They just could not score. And here's a hired gun. I think somebody's going to offer him a bunch of money. Then Klay's got to decide: do I take the money or do I?
And what that number is? Is it going to? Are they offering him 30? Or are they offering him?
I think he can get it. I think he can get it.
Think he can get it. $30 million. We'll see what Klay gets. But that's going to be a big loss because of the spacing and the shooting, no doubt. You got to have. I don't know how you replace that. Do you do it with cheaper options? Good luck.
What he hit 240 shots last year or something like that. It's a lot to make up. I know everyone's obsessed about the money for Klay Thompson, or at least that's part of the conversation. I'm more interested in the role. What is the role for the Warriors? What are they pitching in terms of a role? And then what are the other teams pitching in terms of a role? Because I do think that I think that as what I know the money, I get it. It's pro sports. I'm not naive to the money. I understand that there's the respect factor and all that is baked into it. But to me, the role that he receives from the other team and what the role is that the Warriors are pitching him. What do you think the role is that they're pitching him right now?
I don't know what the role is. Maybe 30 minutes a game. 30 minutes a game is the role. Off the bench or starting. Maybe it's 28 minutes a game.
What about closing?
Maybe 28 minutes. It depends on the game. Klay's going to have to understand that.
Do you think he accepts that?
Absolutely. He did last year. Reluctantly. I know we love to use it, but he did. He was reluctant to do it, but he did it.
Let's say all things are equal, right? The Warriors are offering the same money as Team X.
Well, it depends what the team looks like, right? What does that team look like? What do they have around him? Because a shooter like that on the floor in crunch time, if you have the right personnel around him, and I think the ideal personnel around Klay Thompson is a big who can protect the rim, because at the point of attack, Klay's not the same defender. But if you have somebody behind you who can block shots and alter shots and contest shots at the rim, then also you can play a little more physical at the point of attack. And maybe you're getting up on the defender. You're not so worried about getting blown by because you have a guy behind you who can protect the rim. And then shooting-wise, if you're playing with a bunch of dudes, let's just use Orlando for this hypothetical, since that's the team everybody uses. Paulo and Franz Wagner are going to get to the cup and break down the defense. So they're going to create open shots for you over and over again. So in the late situation, you want Klay Thompson out there on the floor because of the presence and the threat that he is from the three-point line. So it all depends on the team and the personnel.
Yeah, okay, so let's say it is Orlando, and they say you're going to close every single game. Forget the starting. They just say you're going to close every single game.
See, I don't think they're going to do that, though. I don't think a team's going to sit down and say, hey, you're going to close. I think teams now, in today's day and age, they're not afraid to just go with the guys that got them down there in the fourth quarter.
You don't think that's going to be a conversation for Klay Thompson?
No, I don't.
I do.
I don't. He's going to sit there and say, hey, I want to close. I'm an option to close. But game by game, if he doesn't have it, then you know what? Your ass is going to be on the bench.
I don't know.
I think we don't give enough credit to Klay for accepting that change. That's a big change for a guy.
It was only a couple of games. With an ego
like that, he came out the bench for 14 games.
I'm talking about to not close.
But you had to close him on the team.
No,
right.
But I truly believe that matters to him. And I don't think that's a wrong thing. I think it matters. I think it matters a lot to him. I think it matters to him that he is out there helping decide in the final minutes of a game. And I get it. I think it matters
if you're on a 500 team. If you're on a team that's winning, bygones will be bygones.
Well, like Orlando is, you're right, but I'm just saying, like, heading into Orlando, like, in this hypothetical, what was Orlando? They won 50 games?
50 in the Eastern Conference. What did they win? Did they
47,
win
48 games?
They won 47 games.
Okay. I think that the money is obviously baked into it. I do think that the role matters, and I'm very interested to see what that role is.
Yeah, the role,
internally for the Warriors and externally for the teams that are vying for his services.
We shall see with Klay Thompson. We shall see. But Draymond Green, we had Eric in Oakland dropped off. I wanted to get to Eric in Oakland because he has something good. 888-957-9570 as we get this situation rehashed. Here it is, the text I saw. That made me chuckle a little bit. It was from the 216, basically saying, shout out, 216, shout out Hawaii. We're back to the punch. And with that said, we shout out Daryl the Guru Johnson. I hate to go Hawaii on you, but I'm bringing it back to the punch. That was one of the funniest lines.
Now we got Luka Akua.
Wait, what?
You guys don't know the star Rams wide receiver? Now we got Luka Akua.
Put that, even though it wasn't on our show, put that in mispronunciation of the year for our Doobie Awards.
408, Draymond is hilarious. 650 mobile text line. A month ago, he said money was tight because fines are crazy in the NBA. He's getting on a pod and saying he willingly paid fines for being late because he couldn't face teammates.
That's a really good point, actually. I didn't even consider that. He was really complaining about the $100,000 fines that he got from his own actions of suspension without realizing how tone deaf it was, that he was culpable of those acts and he was refusing to take responsibility. And then he comes out a month later, he's right, and basically says, like, yeah, I willingly got fined. I go, what? Again, then the guy just